All right, Trace. Doing a little something different today. Notes for you. I'm just going to put out a quick video for you guys, just to kind of recap a little bit of the week, because I don't think I will have time to do big end of day note and video. So this might be it in terms of what you're getting for the end of the week. So it's my nephew's birthday, and I'm going out to celebrate with him. So what do we have today? Well, we had the PPI report, first of all, that came in a little bit lighter than expected. And you also have University of Michigan sentiment numbers that kind of uh, changed the tone a little bit and coming in lighter than expected, just to kind of show you that like sentiment is a little bit lower. Now, again, there's many measures of sentiment. This one is down. You can I think there's the AAII sentiment indicator that's weekly, that is more of like a faster moving survey. And that ticked up earlier in the week. So just kind of, you have to take some of these things with a grain of salt. But for now, the market cheers that on, as well as they cheer on that this number was a tenth of a percentage point lower versus expectations. And I said this yesterday with the CPI report, and I said that the CPI report coming in a tenth of a percentage point higher than expectations is probably not the biggest deal in the world, considering that there's some variability and probably some error in gathering those data points. So that's my opinion. And the same thing, and this is what I said in last night's video, that if this number ticks down a little bit, it's just kind of the same thing. But for now, the market has been you know it's been a little bit choppy, I would say, but overall, the trend is intact here. And what I've been saying all week long, as we've moved on Wednesday above the value area for the first move above the October value area, which essentially means that we're breaking out of a range, right? And obviously, if the value area is putting some statistics behind that, because we're using the volume profile, right, to come up with that value area. So I've said, since we broke up over this on Wednesday and had, an inside day yesterday, a little bit of volatility, kind of a little bit of a small like back test of the top of the value area, but we're holding above it. And one of my small complaints, and again, I always want to be critical of the market, right? Always kind of judging it and saying, hey, is this what we want out of the market? Are we seeing things confirm the move? Now that we're out to new highs, are we seeing more things that confirm this move, or that are diverging? And by the way, another thing, to note is that we're not extended here, right? I think if you look at this and say, obviously we made this nice move from the September lows. We spent some time consolidating a little bit. We haven't been ramping up like crazy to the upside. So, and you can also look at the RSI and say, hey, we're not in overbought territory as of yet. So this kind of gets me a little bit excited. The fact that we've got good participation today, and you can look at the RSP. This is just a very simple way to kind of cuff this, but look at the RSP, which is a little bit off the highs today. What I would want to see, again, just for confirmation purposes, is that the RSP closes above the value area, the October value area. And, then it obviously means the same thing, that you've got a breakout going on in the equally weighted, right? So this is like the more unbiased view, because as we know with a market cap index, the higher names, the bigger names get more of a higher weighting and impact the index more. But when you're looking at an equally weighted index, it kind of tells you what the overall group is doing. And there's no bias in terms of that. So this is also pretty positive, right? And then when you look today at the areas that are performing. And by the way, market breadth is a solid for NYSE using our proprietary indicators at 2.8. So that's pretty good for the day. You've got things like, what most impresses me. So first of all, when you look at the top of the leaderboard, clean energy is up there. Clean energy is very tough because one day clean energy is down 3%. The next day it's up 4%. So it's nice that that's contributing for the day. I don't know if there's really anything to do there, but what I'm specifically looking at is the financials, which are very strong today. So you had two big earnings reports to start. To start the financials off, which is Bank of America. We actually have a few more than that, but just a couple that I'm looking at, um, is what JP Morgan and Wells Fargo are doing, right? And these are both pausing at some of these, this has got some resistance to get through, same as JP Morgan is. But again, it just kind of tells me it shows me like how strong right now the financials are. And JP Morgan, it remains to be seen if it can get through that previous resistance. But when you look at the financials as a group, this is very positive, right? And this is something that we've talked a little bit about earlier in the week, that these financials, after a nice move, and the financials have been one of the market leaders this year, right? You have this kind of consolidation here, and look at the nice move higher. So, we're going to get more earnings reports. There's going to be more information that's going to be coming at us, not just in financials, but overall, we've just entered earnings season. So you kind of have to buckle up for that. But I would say, in terms of the trends and what we're seeing, there's more things that I kind of like here, and you could kind of slice this let me just get the right ETF up here, but you could slice this financials up a couple different ways. This is the capital markets ETF, and there's things like Robinhood in here, Morgan Stanley, which I'm long both of those names, and those names are doing pretty well. And then you kind of couple that with some of the other areas of the market that I've been talking about. Your private equity, very close, very close to moving higher. I got long some BX today. Been waiting for this move back above the 5-period moving average. Today it happened, and I'm long this for now. So, I and couple that with like what we're seeing in option activity um in the Chinese group, right? So BEKE is seeing a lot of April calls. This is a real estate play over in China, just to kind of give you a flavor of like what's going on here. TIGR is also bouncing a little bit. These things didn't get down to their 20-day moving average, which I was kind of watching to see if that would happen, but not yet. So you've got that going on. The financials very strong. We know that Nvidia um, is also like it's not a day for big tech. In fact, the Qs are flat on the day, but there is rotation that's going on in the tape. So for now, kind of look at a few of the other groups here. Sorry, that's the wrong. That is right in here. Um, I think that this is what we want to see, is more groups participating, right? And we've talked a lot about this week about cyber names and software, right? But it's okay for them to take a day off or two, like let them consolidate, even though I think they're still doing okay for the day. But I think that it's very good to see other groups, come in and do well. This is also the new highs for today. You could see, by the way, this is SPX 4-week new highs versus new lows. You could see what groups are doing the lifting, right? So we know about tech and what I just mentioned, cyber, software. You've got a bunch of names in that group, but look at what's going on in the financials. Right, very strong. Also, the industrials, there's a lot of that group. These have been the three groups, and maybe sprinkle in a little bit of consumer discretionary. That's actually acting very well today. You've got a lot of the restaurant names that are doing particularly well. Kava, which I think is best in breed in the group. Right, which is right there. Very close to new highs. Sweet Green, which a lot of people like, right? That name selling off a little bit. Let's see if it can maintain outside of the value area. And CMG, right? So again, some of these names are kind of coming in a little bit, but we'll see where they close. But these are things to kind of keep an eye on and kind of go from there. So that's it. I'm going to keep it kind of short and sweet for now for the video here. You could see from our watch list from the weekend, look at how many names have been accelerating here to the upside. And it's a lot of momentum names. For example, you've got Carvana is up from the trigger up 7%. Palantir has been breaking out. Upstart is in a pretty darn good position on the weekly chart, right? Here's so very close to breaking out these previous highs. Remember, this got rejected a bit at that previous at that version point of control, but is now, trying to contend that again. So here's what this looks like on the weekly chart. Again, it doesn't look bad. It's trying to kind of come out of that, come out of that base. So those are a few names to highlight. Other than that, I'm just going to go through and go through, a couple of my names that I'm long. Argentina, right? This is at new highs today. So a lot, again, I'd like to see this pickup in new highs that we're getting. FTAI continues to be a name to continue to push higher. Then in the energy space, you do have some select names. I'm long this one of them, TRGP doing very well. Another one which saw option activity yesterday is CNX. Look at what CNX is doing, right? So there is some really good momentum. Again, you have to be selective and find some of these names, but you've got some nice strength going on within this group. So I'll leave it there, guys, and enjoy. Have a great weekend, everybody, and a really nice week of trading.